G Life, it's your boy MC Shadow back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, check out the playlist. The playlist on top where my videos in the home folders makes the video looking for a lot easier. Whether it's just a reaction to the G series, all that, you can find them in the home folders. Don't forget to check out my second channel, Menace Society M.O.D, where we talk about stuff outside of the streets. Now, what I wanted to talk about was something actually I was getting hit up by a few subscribers, just a few. But one of them, he's really cool, man. He's always showing love to the channel, so he told me, to make a video about this, what are my thoughts on it. So shout out to the Haters World because homie told me that he saw it on his channel first. He sent me the link and I went to go scope it out. So go subscribe to Haters World. He has good stuff on his channel. Go show him some love. He had made a video about stupid young and saying talking about giving his perspective of the the relationship between Raza and Asians and why the gang started and the beef and all that, and he gave his perspective, and he's entitled to have his perspective. Now, what do I think about it? Well, I think what happens when people tell like stories is or from that they heard of is that they often forget about the time period, right? Like how they see the world now and how it is now is not how it was then, right? So it was different. So you have to put yourself in them shoes. You know what I'm saying? He's a little thirsty. Because if not, I get copyrighted by the company. Hey, man, you're using my soda logo. YouTube and their nonsense. But so Asians. Now, when people say, well, who am I to speak on it? Well, my neighborhood beefed it with Asian gangs, and we got along with some Asian gangs. So, and these are not stories that my older homies told me and stuff like that. These conflicts happen in my generation, right? So it's not stories that my big homies told me, but events that I was, involved in, during those times, right? So I know very well how the Asian neighborhoods move, And like I said, we were cool with some Asian neighborhoods, you know what I mean? So we beefed it with some and we were cool with others because there's several Asian hoods, there's different ones, Jeff Rocks, Kingberry Boys, Asian Boys, Waching, Bahana, something like that. No, dispense if I messed it up. Vietnamese Boys. You have a lot of different Asian gangs, that they even beef it with each other, right? You know what I mean? Then you have the Pino Locos too and Pino Rio. And, many Asian gangs, bro. A shitload. It's not even funny. And they beef it with each other. Some are, some, consider themselves, Japanese gangs. Some are Korean gangs. Some are Cambodian gangs. Some are Vietnamese gangs. Some are from Laos. Different Asian groups, right? So, like I said, we beefed it with some. When Stupid Young, gave his opinion on why did the Asian gangs start, they started to protect themselves from the Hispanic gangs. True, right? Now, people have to keep this in mind, right? We're talking about back then. And when we're talking about gang members picking on these individuals, we're talking about teenage boys, right? Like young boys, right? Playing with their friends outside and being approached by teenage boys as well. So, not by old-ass men, not by grown-ass men, but by other children their age. If you have children, you understand, that if you leave a group of kids unattended with no adult supervision, they tend to do things that they're not supposed to do, and they tend to fight amongst each other, argue and fight amongst each other. That's the mentality of a child, right? Children are just behave like that. They fight with their siblings. They fight, and argue with other, because they don't want to admit that they're wrong and stuff like that, right? They're still learning, right? It's a learning process. So, of course, there's going to be conflicts and issues amongst themselves. But the thing about children is that they easily just brush it off as well. You know what I mean? That is the difference between a child and an adult, right? That part of the brain hasn't developed yet, so you can't expect a child to behave like an adult. As much as you can explain to a child, sit him down and explain stuff to him, he will not think like an adult because that part of the brain hasn't developed yet. Although he's able to comprehend, he truly doesn't understand. You get what I'm saying? And that's scientifically proven, bro. You can argue with the facts. Go argue with the greatest minds in humanity. They teach this to the greatest minds in the planet, you know. So you can't get them to think like an adult, right? So they're being approached by other children, right, who want to be big and bad, who have a lot of anger in them. So they start bullying them, right? Not because they're Asian, but just because, they're there. If it would have been a group of blacks, if it would have been a group of whites, if it would have been a group of any other, outside of their friends, they were gonna cause some issues. Why? Because they want to be like they're the big dog in the yard, and they're angry. They're full of a lot of rage, right? They don't understand the scenario that they're put in, right? So they just, unleashing this anger makes them feel better about their, current situation. Because they don't know how to cope with it. That helps ease the pain. I should know. So now you get a see. The thing is that why people have a problem with, like, why there's tensions between ethnicities is that the cultures are different, right? So when you get, a group of another ethnicity whose culture is different from yours, it tends to bug certain people. I got no problem with it, but other people, they got problems with certain way that people do things, right? And that goes, for whites, blacks, Asians. When another ethnicity moves in your area, whether you're white, Hispanic, black, whatever, it tends to bother the community, right? Because the way they do things is different from the way you do things, right? So it's not that you're doing it right or they're doing it wrong or vice versa. It's just that everybody's culture is unique, and unique in how they do things, right? And not saying one is better than the other, or whatever, it's just that everybody's culture is different. You must understand that they're different, and it's perfectly fine. Not saying it that your way is better or whatever, just that everybody's culture is unique and you need to respect that, right? But most people's, ego and current situation doesn't allow them to see that, right? So what tends to happen is that a lot of people are frustrated, especially in the ghettos, right? You're stressing over work, you're stressing over bills, you're stressing over a lot of stuff, right? And so when another group, now it gives you guys, somewhere to homing your energy towards, right? Now it gives you, something to complain about, and just because, when people, vent and complain and stuff like that, they feel better after, right? So, now there's just, oh yeah, they start attacking, certain groups, right? Not saying that it's their own ego and bias way of looking at things that's clouding their judgment, right? Because all they care about is just feeling better after. That's why you get people bickering over dumb stuff that's irrelevant, but you know that's the way it is. But this group of kids, right now, they see another group of kids that are different from them, right, hanging out now in their spot, because obviously they're gonna hang out with each other because you're gonna the fact that you have something in common with this ethnicity, because you're of your ethnicity, you feel more comfortable, mingling and interacting with them, right? So now you have these group of Asians that start hanging around right there, like how you guys hang out in your area, but now they're there. You have a problem with that, right? Because we're the only ones that can hang out right here. Who the hell do they think that they are? Even though they just moved in and stuff like that. But remember, these are kids. These are 15, 16, 17-year-olds. So that's the mentality of that age, right? They don't bother thinking about their family. They're not thinking about all of that, right? Especially at that age, they think they know it. They think they know it all, right? So who the hell do these kids? So then they start picking on these individuals, right? So now these individuals now say F that, and they start pushing back, and now they create a group of their own. It doesn't only happen here in the United States; it happens in every other country, for the very exact same reason, right? Being bullied, but it has nothing to do with ethnicities. It's not a racist thing. It's more of a prejudice thing than anything else. It's foolish at the end, but I'm just breaking it down. So when these individuals, now they, because people have to keep this in mind, they're stuck in the same situation that we're stuck in, right? So they're barely getting by, so they're struggling and grinding. And Hispanics are not the only one that indulge in the criminal activity to make easy money. You have them from every other ethnicity out there, Armenian, whites, blacks, Asians, Russians, Middle Easterns. Everyone has those group of individuals who just don't want to live by the law and want to make easy money, right? So they're committing now these things and making easy money, but in your area, in your turf, or only you guys, because now they're taking your customers away from you. There's competition, right? And who the hell do they think they are? This is our block. We were here before them. And these fools are like, well, shit, we're taking over now. We ain't going to let you guys just come and tell us what to do. And bam, you get the clash of, of groups, right? I'm not saying whose side won and what side won, because at the end of the day we all lose. You know, both sides are taking losses. Bodies are dropping on both sides. Individuals are going to jail for life from both sides. So that at the end, there is no winners. And I can't say who's down or who's not, because every group has their down riders and savages and stuff like that. Nobody is scared in this game. When it comes to the streets, no group is scared. Not blacks, not whites, not Asian. If you're living in the criminal underworld, you know, where stuff, you know, is work like this and like that, you have riders, soldiers, warriors, whatever you want to call them, on every side, you know, who are willing to do what they got to do for their sets. So no side is weak, no side is lame, no side is, you know, of course the ops are going to say that that's their job to, you know, hate on the, you know, but if you're keeping it real and you're telling it exactly how it is, and that's all you could do, then you got to be straight up, you know, F them fools, but they're down for their shit. That's all you could do. You know, but to be making up lies, nah, I mean, that's far from real. You could just say F them mother effers, you know? But they got their balls. It's as easy as that. You don't gotta like them. Just don't wolf on them. Just don't lie, dog, because that's far from real. So no side had to go running to nobody, you know, and I know this because, you know, like I said, we used to beef it with certain Asian neighborhoods. And then we have homies from Jeff Rocks, right? That one of my road dogs from my neighborhood, his brother and his cousins are from, you know, an Asian gang, because the homie's Asian, but he's from my neighborhood. You know, shout out to the homie criminal. He knows what's up. So, we talk and they beef it with other, you know, Hispanic gangs, right? And he said that at one point some of his homies seen that all Mexicans, right? Because he said that, you know, they were being attacked by, you know, a Hispanic gang over here, a Hispanic gang over there, different Hispanic gangs, right? You know, in different areas, right? Because their homies were scattered, you know. So, you know, they had different Hispanic gangs coming, you know, at them, that they were just like, oh, I guess the Mexicans don't like us, so F all of them, you know? And the homie's brother had to tell them, like, nah, there's some homies that we know that they're cool and stuff like that. Like, they had to, you know, bring them back. And you could see where that shit, you know, it's easy to make an individual think like that. There's certain individuals who are from Raza neighborhoods who they beef it just with maybe like 5 different black gangs, and they're like F all blacks just because of the frustration of it all. But you, like I said, you can't just, you know, just because, you know, you're going at it with a few groups here and there, it doesn't mean you know, have to view all these individuals like that. But it's so easy to drown yourself in that. So while they felt maybe homies ran to certain, you know, people for help and stuff like that, they probably felt like that because they were just being attacked from everywhere. But it's not that. It's just that these vitals were already, you know, established, right? So now you guys are coming and hanging around right there and doing illegal activity yourselves, and you know, pressing upon people yourselves. That is like, what? Nah, this is our territory, homie. Nah, we have our operations right here. You don't get it. And that's where the issues come, you know? But it's not to say that they're hating on you because of your ethnicity, because if it would have been a white group, if it would have been a black group, if it would have been another Hispanic group or Latino group, they were going to have issues with them people right there in their neighborhood trying to establish. If any gang that's out there, any neighborhood that's out there, whether black, white, it don't matter, Filipino, you know, Iraqian, if they're already established right there and another group lands right there and tries to establish, they're not going to be cool with it, bro. They're not. That's why these Hispanic gangs down here in Southern California, why they beefing with each other. No group is going to like when another group sets up shop right there, bro. They're not. They're going to have an issue with it. So it's not an ethnicity thing, you know? It's more of a territorial thing. It's stupid all at the end of the day because, you know, you get nothing out of this life and stuff like that. All true. I'm simply just breaking down the mentals and why. But overall, that's just my opinion on the situation. So it's not that, you know, because people could say certain things about certain people being greenlit and stuff like that. Greenlighting maybe certain neighborhoods because they are moving into their territory and now establishing their illegal, you know, establishments and stuff like that. And so you got to take out the competition. But it's not because of their ethnicity, you know, but because, you're taking away the funds. Like I said, it could be any other group. So, and remember, like I said, when they were being picked on, they were picked on by other kids their age, you know what I mean? Who outnumbered them. So it was not, you know, over ethnicities. Because really, in reality, a child doesn't even care about none of that, bro. He's just looking to, he doesn't really understand nothing, bro. He's misunderstood. See, when people talk about and tell these stories, they're picturing like 30, 26-year-olds going and doing all this stuff, when in reality, it's 17, 15, 14, 13 years old that are running around kicking all this stuff up. Those are the facts. I should know. But I'm just saying, that's just my opinion. Go ahead and leave yours in the comments. Shadow, we out.